Hello everyone. For video 15, I wanted to do something rather special, which I guess is just me making another video and me talking about things. So I don't know if it's really special at all. I'm filming this from home and hopefully today I'll make 2 videos, so we're gonna see. It really depends if I can get outside or not. This is propped up against my PC that's on, so hopefully nothing happens. But I guess we will see what it sounds like. So what I wanted to do for this video is name it the fear of missing out, right? FOMO. That's what I think I wanted to name it. And what kind of inspired this was none other than the esteemed Sylvia Plath and her story, The Bell Jar. So a big part of The Bell Jar and what it's about is kind of about a person discovering themselves in the world, right? And a person throughout their lifespan discovering themselves in the world. And yeah, that's pretty much the premise of the book. I would highly recommend anyone read it. And yeah, we're gonna go from there. So big thing that I want to read is a quote from her in the book. So the quote says, "I saw my life branching out before me, like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Atlia, and a pack of other lovers with queer names and offbeat professions, and another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of those figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one, they plopped to the ground at my feet." So I think that part of the book, and just that, if we're extrapolating that and we're just taking it for what it is, and it's assuming it's not a book at all, I think it emphasizes 2 things. Obviously, it emphasizes the fear of missing out, right? I have all these different things, all these different possibilities, all these different paths. I want to experience all of them because they're all great, but inevitably I'm going to have to choose one of them or a few of them, right? And in choosing none of them, all of them cease to exist, right? But I also think it highlights another thing of purpose, right? What is our purpose in the world, right? Is our purpose to be a professor? Is our purpose to be a good husband and have children? Is our purpose to be a writer? Is our purpose to be an Olympic athlete? Is it to be a tennis player? What really is our purpose, right? And that's kind of what it's highlighting. So I think I might name this video Purpose. And I think in the next video, I want to talk about comfortability, so that'll be nice. But I think this quote really resonates with me because I'm on a path of life where I am under the fig tree currently, right? I am looking up, seeing all of the different possibilities, and all of them are awesome, right? In one possibility, I'm this great Gatsby-esque character, I'm alone, but I'm rich, and I have these things I want, and I have these yearnings. And then in another aspect, I'm a totally different character who is middle class, who works a job, has kids, has a lovely wife, teeth to the grindstone type of deal. And then, there's 50 million other characters that I kind of see myself being. And it's hard to really determine what is the best character, right? It's hard to know which one is the right one. And that's where I think this symbolism of the fear of missing out is really highlighted, because it's like, is the character I am now the one I want to be? there's 15 other characters I could be. And I think what this poetry also does highlight is another aspect of what I was saying in another video, right? Where you have plan A, you have plan B. Sometimes plan A doesn't work out how you want, and all you can think of is the glorified version of plan B, right? All I can think of is I'm depressed now. In plan B, I would be happy because it wouldn't be what I'm doing now. But the issue is now you have plan A, B through Z, right? Plan A is not working out. That means all 25 other plans must be amazing because for whatever reason right now I'm not happy. And I think that's where discovering purpose is important, right? Your purpose is a fig in the fig tree. In my opinion, your purpose might be the whole tree, because our purpose transcends a job or parenting or whatever, right? Our purpose is multifaceted. It means different things to different people in different contexts, right? It's so insanely complex that it's hard to pinpoint what your purpose is. And I think it's interesting because in the complexity of this purpose that we have on life, in life, I think it's easy to get lost. It's so easy to get lost because you're staring into the unknown and you're saying, what am I supposed to do? What do I mean? What is life to me? It's hard to know. It really is hard to know. And a quote that I'm going to use later, but I think it fits here, is, it talks about self-importance, right? And part of purpose is knowing that you are self-important. It's knowing that when you mean something to somebody, that is your purpose. And I think really evaluating purpose and knowing who you are, and it's good to define your values, it's good to define your expectations, it's good to define your faith, it's good to define these things because these ground us, but I don't think these things inherently give us a purpose. I think we think they do, right? I think we think if I live through my values, that's my purpose. My purpose is to fulfill my values. My purpose is to give glory to God. My purpose is to fulfill something, right? But I think sometimes it's not about the fulfillment of things. Sometimes your purpose is simply about living life, right? It's about seeing friends. It's about existing loudly. It's about not shying away from the things that we want and the things that we love and experiencing things, right? I don't think a lot of people think about experience as a purpose, right? But I would say it's almost your duty to be alive, to experience things, right? I mean, just to be alive statistically is so unfathomable and unlikely, right? Like, just for you to have been chosen as the egg and the sperm are already 1 in a billion. Just for you to have chosen to have been born normal, been born without a disability, been born without some underlying issue, been born with the privilege of doing these things, quote unquote, winning the ovarian roulette in some aspect, right? When you add all of the things up that could have gone wrong, the odds are really stacked against you. So if you are in the unique position to fulfill a purpose, then your purpose might just be to experience life, because odds are a lot of us don't get to do that, right? A lot of us don't get to get off of work and go see our friends. A lot of us don't get to have children and have a happy marriage and it lasts forever, right? As I talked about in another video, 50% of people get divorced. So half of us will inevitably not be able to fulfill the purpose of love. So it's important to take the purpose that is around you in all things, whether that's enjoyment with your friends or being nice to yourself, being kind to yourself, liking someone, talking to someone about something. I think if you can do these things, you are fulfilling some innate purpose in yourself, right? You're fulfilling your purpose to the world. And maybe if your purpose is to act a specific way to fulfill something, right? You know, maybe I go around praying with people because I want to fulfill my purpose to God. Maybe I go around spreading the word because I want to fulfill my purpose to God. I think that those are important, but I think we need to be grounded in this purpose of just being happy, being human, being empathetic towards one another, being kind. Those are our real purposes. Our real purposes are to live life, reproduce, make love, be in love with things, love things deeply, loudly, exist in such a manner that you're not suffering, and you're not suffering alone. And I think it's so ingrained into our culture, suffering, that we need to suffer alone, and most of the time our suffering is just simply self-inflicted, right? Because of how our society is set up, our value system and our purpose. Because our purpose is so derived in our status. Our purpose is directly derived from what title do I have? What job am I in? How much money am I making? Who am I giving my money to? Am I going on vacation? Am I getting to experience new things all the time? Like, in my opinion, none of that matters. None of that means anything. That's fantastic that you're a CEO of something, but are you happy? Like, what is your purpose in this life? Because your purpose is not to be a CEO. Your purpose is to be a good father, be a good husband, be a good person, be a good human towards those who need help. Your purpose is not, I want to make a lot of money. Because what type of purpose is that? Because at the end of the day, in 10 years after you die, what am I going to remember you for? Am I going to remember you that you were a CEO who made a lot of money? Or am I going to remember you how you treated me? Because your purpose does matter. And part of your purpose is to have other people in your life that you're empathetic towards. And if you're the CEO and you come to me and you're an asshole, all I'm going to remember you for is that. All I'm going to remember for you didn't give back to the community, you didn't volunteer, you didn't do good things, you weren't nice to people, you weren't a good father, you weren't a good husband. That's the shit I'm going to remember you for. But if you can fulfill this purpose of doing something that's bigger than yourself, then I think you will be remembered for a long time. And I think circling back to this fear of missing out piece, a lot of us miss out on our purpose because we're so worried that if we don't have every fig, then in some way we're inadequate. If I'm not doing all these amazing things, then in some way I'm inadequate. And I think part of that comes from lack of perspective and being young. Because when you're young, and at least for me, I believe I can do everything. I believe I can get whatever degree I want. I can get whatever job I want. I can do whatever I want, realistically, right? And I think as we grow up, we kind of lose that, which is unfortunate, because I don't think we should lose that. I think we still should have this perception that we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. And if we set our mind to it and we have self-belief in ourselves, then we can do anything. Because I would say one of my biggest qualities is self-belief. I believe that I can do things. I believe that I am self-important. I believe that I am capable of doing whatever I set my mind to. And 80% of what you do is belief. If you can't believe it, then you can't envision it and you can't do it. So I think part of it is you need to choose a fig or a few, but you also need to make sure that you leave them up there, right? You don't let the tree burn down just because you chose one. No, you chop off a branch, you leave it, you move on, and then you revisit it, and you continually revisit it, because it turns out more and more branches are going to keep growing, right? You're going to unlock more potential within yourself. That's just the reality of the world. And I think where we get caught up as humans is what's described in the story with the girl is we sit there and we don't choose because we want all of them. And in not choosing, as it says, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped off and they died. Because that's where stagnation comes in. If we can't identify what my purpose is and what I mean to myself and what I mean to the world and what I mean to others, and if I can't have an actionable plan to fulfill those things, then they will just go away. Nothing gets done just sitting in the house and sitting on your phone and doing nothing. I mean, nothing is achieved. It takes work, it takes progress. That's another thing. We say fear of missing out, but I say lack of work ethic sometimes. You're not missing out, you're just unwilling to put in the grind that it takes to do something. Because purpose is not something that is handed to us. Because if it was handed to us, it would be not as valuable, right? So I think it's important to be committed to your purpose, be committed to yourself, readily define it, come up with actionable insights on how you can complete it. I think those are all important things. And I think if we can do that, we can fulfill our purpose and we don't miss out on life, because it turns out when we choose the things we really want that really do fulfill our purpose, suddenly some of those other things just become insignificant. They just don't matter to us as much anymore. We grow up, our frontal lobe develops, and we just become okay with who we are. And I know as young people it's hard to be okay with who we are. I'm aware. I'm not always okay with who I am. Sometimes the dopamine does go away a lot, and you just feel like crap, and that's okay. But if we can define who we can be and work towards who we want to be, then I think we can fulfill a purpose that's bigger than us. So I challenge you to do that. Because it's important to have a purpose that's larger than life, that lets you exist loudly. So that's going to conclude part 1 of the video. I guess not part 1, but that's going to conclude this video. Like I said, the next video I want to talk about comfortability. And yeah, we're going to go from there. I forgot to say the date. Today is April 14th, Monday. And we're going to see how the next one goes, if I end up making it. All right. See you all.